Dr. Njeri Gachohi, a psychologist, a counseling psychologist. I'm also a lecturer. And I think I'm not new to our viewers. Maybe some of them have seen me at, in MBCI or NBCI in quite a number of programs, but the main one being the marriage classroom, where we've been on for about 1 year and a half talking about marriage, how to make our marriage thrive. We don't endure, we enjoy the marriages. And those who are preparing, how to get into it. We have what we call the Christian marriage, which I know one of the things that is required is that people use the right channel of marriage, so that once they agree on how they are going to go on with their marriage, then they are able to either see the relevant people, and then they are either joined in marriage. But others, also we have like the Hindu, where the parents look for the bride for the man, and they don't even, the lady, I mean, the man may not be the one to look for the lady, and others. We have the customary marriages and all that. So there are many forms. I don't know whether these days we have that form. It could be maybe in a sophisticated way, like where I saw some billionaires trying to guard their billions, so they go and look for a daughter of a billionaire, knowing, and they are young, because they know they are safeguarding their riches. Somehow, it's not because of their children's happiness. What they are more concerned about is their securing their riches. Others may be in the form that maybe I would wish to get my child married to a rich family or this. But I think, by and large, we should allow people to make decisions. Just like the way I believe like young people can make decisions about their careers and all that. And they get more satisfaction when they have selected. I believe when it comes to the issue of marriage, let the man and the woman be the people to have the last say. I like you, let's get married, or I love you, get married, but not this fixing. Because what will happen is, when things get difficult, because it's not that even those who, okay, hata wale wanajitafutia, si kwa sababu si kusema ati their marriages are permanent, but what we are saying is, at that time when there will be issues to solve, people get reluctant to solve because they think these problems have been caused because I never made the choice myself. Yeah, so I think there could be where we have the parents have a say, maybe sometimes in this way, when they can look at a person and maybe sometimes they say, I don't think it's the right person, with the correct or the right reasons, or what do you call it, the correct judgment, then you can take their wisdom. But not some issues that where they have even to tell you, he must be like this, she must be like this. I think that's where we say your parental role is already over on that side. And I think if you have heard me teaching about parenting, at the time a young man is choosing to get married or who to marry, then you are at the level of consultancy. You are just a consultant. Let them consult you when they want, but you cannot make the choices like you are a dictator when they are in the first years of their lives. What they say is as much as you'd allow them, but I think the final say should be you, because you see, these friends, let me tell you, and call them either cliques or the girls or the boys, as they would call them, sometimes they are not always so happy when you find like you are living that hard. You've heard of in the animal world, the bachelor herd. And sometimes they keep company now that they are bachelors in a herd, and one dares to go and confront the other bachelor so that they can upset or unseat him from his. It's not always like they will celebrate you. What I want to say is this: sometimes when it comes to decisions about life, there is that time when you have to separate from the crowd. I always find like people who make important decisions in life don't look for the power of the crowd. There is that time when you take your cross, just like Jesus would say, and follow him. And the crowd, just leave them, because sometimes they will come there. And some of them, it's not like we keep saying, I'm happy for you. I don't think sometimes it's that genuine. Some of them just go getting a little bit of, tunasema kiwaru, and they would come and tell you, oh, that guy is like this, like this. Whether he's poor or rich, if you have made your choice, I think you can live with that choice. I would say the age depends on what you've been doing or your goals in life. There are people who get through with education and they think that's the next thing. I want to say that if we have one person who dropped out at when they were in study 8 and went into life, the business, maybe by the time they are 20, they have had enough of life and they are ready to settle down. But there is this young person who went through, that is Form 4 or the basic education, has gone to college and has started working. By the time you are through, you'll be around 25. So if you have life goals, then you realize I will have to pursue them. And that is very important because that depends on the age. But I think you can't marry below the legal age, 18 years and below you are underage. In fact, you are a minor. And if your parent allows you to get married, he can also be jailed or even be charged, because that is, he cannot give consent of a minor to get married. I believe also 18 to 19, you are still an not emotionally mature. I believe by the time you have learned how to handle your own decisions and make choices, then you can know I will make the right choice. So I think by the time you are 23, 25 above, that is better, emotionally especially. Yeah, I'm not saying you're not mature physically, because people get mature by the time they are through with the teenage. You have all your body forms and all that. I mean, if anybody was to get that struck by what you call that size 16 or size 18, or is it what? Or now, whichever, what I'm saying, you have gotten the form, but you can be a beauty without brains. Now, I first believe you've decided to get married is first of all to think seriously to who you want to get married to. And I believe as a Christian, the first step is to make your request known to God. I get surprised that sometimes Christians, we can pray about many things and believe God about many things. And we can even quote that scripture and the Lord says, ask me anything. But we almost think that God tells us, ask anything except a wife. Ask anything except a man. I believe the same way you ask the Lord about a job, about even where your career and all that, the same way you can go and you go and tell God, I would want to a career as a teacher or a career as an engineer, because you already have your interests, you also have your desires. The same way, now that you think you're going to get married, you need to have an idea. Whom do I look for? Or who indeed is the person I would wish? Because I believe, however much you think God has left you that dash, it is you to feel it. Yes. But sometimes you get so trivial, dark, tall, and handsome. Or a man is saying she must be brown and she must have like this, long hair. Those are things that I can say they are very trivial. That is more like the container. I wish people would be looking for the content. Go to God with the content. I would want maybe a man that understands me, or a man who is, loves God, a man who is, go to God with what you desire as a woman and let God package it now in a container. But I believe the content is more important. Yes, even Kikuyu walikuwa anasema uthakadule yago, you can't serve beauty kwa ukule. But I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, because some people say, oh, in anything. No, not anything. I believe there is also that part of beauty. And even if you read in the Bible, why Esther was picked, she was a beautiful woman. But let me tell you, don't forget that among all the women that had been looked for were all beautiful. None was ugly. They had first got the criteria. Very well, bred, or what you call beautiful women. But beyond that, there was something he was looking for. And beyond that, he saw this lady who was not even so fussy, not asking for so many things. She could only pick whatever she was given. Yes, and that's now another part of a woman that sometimes we miss out. When we think all that matters is outward appearance, and we miss out that costly part, or what we call, the Bible says in 1 Peter, that, beautiful, quiet spirit, that the inner beauty. So when you miss out, then you realize even the rest goes out of the widow, because at the end of it, you realize you can be just like a Jezebel, but very beautiful, but very wicked inside. And you've seen people like that. But then you can also have people who are so graceful, because inside, the beauty is from inside outside. And I believe that now first if you got this, you've told God, and there's this person maybe who seems to be interested in you. The first thing you realize, maybe what first strikes you, is either you have similar, or that is, there is similarity in your likes or what you love, what are your values of life and all that. So you find this person becomes afraid, because afraid is somebody you seem to rhyme in a way that you seem to have things that you can do in common, you enjoy in common and all that. So what happens is, as you continue, you realize you're comfortable with the person, you look forward to meeting the person. It is so easy to strike out a conversation, and it's like, wow, it's almost becoming natural. Now, the red flags is where you find there are some things that you keep excusing, or even trying to make yourself understand, or even go with them, and you don't like them. Now, because you keep saying, no, he's like this, but I love him. But every other time when you put that but, remember there's something you don't want to face. Now, he's so harsh, but I love him. You know, it's like there's something that you used to cover. So those are what you call the red flags. Okay, he may be nice looking, but disrespects you. Okay? Or you're always quarreling. Okay, every other time or they are explaining yourself. You know, look at you, you know, or you were solid, you know, you kept me waiting. Yet when you have waited for him, he doesn't even apologize. I mean, always you are the madam mistake. You look like always defending yourself. I keep saying, every time you meet with a person and you're always on the dock, you are a defendant, and there is the accuser. Forget about that relationship. You will never survive. Again, when your ideas are always inferior. He seems to have the most, or he has to carry the day. You cap your day, yes. And now because you really love him, you just let, oh, it's okay. Yes, it's like you say, no, this time you come to a place. No, I think you can. And then you say, oh, it's okay. So that's okay. Then you always feel like you just put down. Then don't put up with that. Sincerely, women, let's just wake up. If they pretend when we are relating, let me tell you, you get the wrong part. They don't change for the better. In fact, it is to the worse. To the fact that now what you saw is not what you get. Yes, that timid looking young man, always understanding. Now you find, now he comes and he realizes the other way, the other part you didn't see. And people have gotten shocked because you don't take time to learn one another. You just think, oh, all that matters is love. Yes, love also should have common sense. Courtship for people who want to spend a lifetime together. I don't think when you talk about from the time you know one another and decide now we are going to walk that steady road as we plan for marriage, I don't think should be less than about a year. Yes, that one the other one might be too short. You know why? This is where you start now learning. When you are now planning, you know somebody, you know their preferences, what they don't like, what they admire, what they don't admire, and from there you can almost know, really? Because sometimes we meet and then all of a sudden we are starting to plan our wedding, and I'm here, I want a helicopter, you can't afford, okay?
Yes.
Because you've never even known what are my likes and dislikes, what are my values, life values, and that's now where we. Yes, because
Those
by the
questions are necessary.
they come naturally. You meet with a person and it's like, oh, I like that dress, I like that color. It much, you know, it looks on you. Now already you have known anapendaga brown. Okay? Yeah. Oh, that you know, I like the other dress more than this one. What is he saying? There is a color he liked. Okay, or even the way you have done your hair. Last time you did your hair, it was like this. So, or this time, what? This is better than last time. What does that tell you? That time, okay, we will look, but this is better. What you go looking forward now to seeing what would make him happy. And once you realize, then you almost know now he is comfortable with this. But in somebody insists on something you yourself don't like, then you don't have to put up with it. You see, let me give an example. I am a short lady, I know that. Okay, but I am enough to the fact that that is my standard height. Okay, so as I grew up and I knew and I've learned that I'm a slighter height. Okay, there are others who are shorter than me, I know, but I think I stayed up to. I keep saying I'm the standard, so you can either be longer than me or shorter. No, what you call taller than me or shorter than me. So one of the things I told God to help me about is that, God, if you are ever to give me a man, I would want him to be comfortable with me. I don't like high shoes. If I do it, sometimes I do when I have a shoe. Okay, when I'm in somewhere or I'm in a where I use for a few minutes, and then after that I'm on my comfortable 2 inches heel. So, but you know, there are those people who would think you'd be a little bit taller if you wore very high shoes, and it's like somebody keep insisting. Not even understand, sometimes it also affects your health. So what happens is, if somebody has to think you don't look good when you don't have those shoes, then somebody's trying to change you. Before now somebody starts using it against you or as a way of putting you down, then please take off. Because I keep saying, each one of us should be able to be celebrated the way we are. If I have a, you know, I am maybe of those people who over heavy, maybe what you call it. You find there are people who, even when they eat, they don't become, what you call extra. Others, even they don't eat. They only need to be happy, and then they are bumpy. So somehow, if you keep telling people, I like girls who are thin, I can't cut myself half and remain with one half. Sometimes you find it is good to understand people are different, just like the flowers of the field. And I believe you love yellow, look for yellow. If you love red, go for red. Don't try to make the red yellow, because that's not how natural it was made. And I believe all of us have people who can love us as we are and accept us we are, and that's how we are able to thrive in marriage. Some things that as a Christian or somebody who wants to have a marriage established, there are things that it doesn't matter whether the package comes this way, but there is one always what we call the underlying factor. I believe you are a Christian. One of the things, or what we can negotiate about, is this, the issue about faith. And I know many young people, and I deal with young people, even in the church, almost thinking, wow, but I get this good young man who is good looking, has everything, so kind, so understanding, and all that, but he's not saved, or he's not a Christian. And you say, should I was to say this. Now, somebody asked, it's all right, but one thing is, we can all pretend. Any one of us can pretend, but pretense does not go for long. I want to say this. Man in his regenerate form, or a woman who has not accepted or is not obedient to the gospel, now you can't try to change that person. If he changes to his original default setting, I don't know. And that's why you realize, people loved one another, they can even kill one another. How comes? Because that love can die, but there's that love that can last. And we don't love with our love. I want to say, I'm not the best, but I keep saying, if you found or you were to get the original Njeri without Christ, I don't think I would have made anyone any good wife. My mother used to be concerned about me. Ile anauliza, Njeri gakuikia. Njeri nani atakuoa? I was so argumentative mpaka she would say, wewe hata ukipelekwa na mto, you argue with the mto. It was the fact that watu watajaribu kutafuta chini watakupata, because even you argued with the river, ati usinipeleke pade hii, nipeleke pade ya juu. So badala ya kunitafuta pade hii, nitafute pade. That's now how hard I was. And that Njeri would have been worse, because I know there are those things I used to say, no, and I can't do, but I know what tackled me, the gospel. How many times do I feel like talking and I find somebody tell me, shut up? If I was myself and the things I feel like I would want to say, I'm telling you, there are a lot. I can set on fire. anything with the mouth. But I have known that the gospel can be able to change you. Just like the way it changed. You can imagine, get Paul or Saul in his original version, going to Damascus. How do you have changed him to be a good man, reasonable? One who can even be slapped and does not slap. Yet he was going to murder. But you meet the gospel, and that's what I'm saying. As a Christian, sincerely, I would rather get that one which has been tamed. But if you feel you can be able to tame a lion, go to the forest, get that small cub, you think, ni kapole, hata kawezi uma, kana kapusi-pusi, lea. Ati kwa sababu he's a husband, because he's good, he's so soft. Then he becomes a lion, then just say, oh, but he was just a puppy. Yes, the puppies also become lions. Yeah. Yes, but I wish that lion that has been tamed by the Lord, because that would be better. Now, I believe that every life decision, which is conclusion you think is important, it is good to look for counsel. I believe when any investor or somebody wants to construct a building, if you seek counsel for somebody who has constructed such a building, or even somebody who can give you how much you may need and all that, you are wise. It's not that you are psycho. So, and we talk about counsel. You know, when people hear about counseling or hear about therapy, they think you must be completely off, or you're going psycho for you to look for a therapist or a counselor. It is wise today for anyone contemplating about marriage to be able to seek counsel. Because these days we have, in the Bible talks about my people perish because of lack of knowledge. Because I believe with the counsel, and it's not that you are being counseling because you have a problem, it's being given what you call, it's like somebody is showing you a roadmap. I believe that's what happened when the Israelites went and they used some threads of Jethro to show them the way to through the desert, because they didn't know about the desert. They had never gone through the way of the desert. And so when we have people who can tell us, okay, when it comes to issues of finances, this is how you manage finances in a family. This is how you you manage in-laws and all that. It's not that you have any problems. We have counseling we call preventive. People want to know about curative. Okay? We have what we call promotive counseling, which promotes health, whether in marriage or even my own health. When I go into a nutritionist and ask for the good food I can eat to be healthy, that is still counsel. It is called promotive counseling. There is also preventive counseling, but there is also curative. Curative is when you are in problems, you are in conflict, and then you seek somebody to help you to solve conflicts. Or you have a problem, we call it curative. But preventive is for every wise person, because we say wise men seek counsel. Dead people cannot. Fools won't. And sometimes unasikia watu wanasema mimi najua. We just we tweet for you. Ni vile tu mtu anasema niko na gari mpya, now going for service, no whatever, check, and then you are off, and then you wait. Tutakugoja tu, hiyo gari tanoki engine. Yes. Tutafutane tu. Itakuwa shida zaidi. Tafadhali ungekuwa upate insurance, uchekiwe miguu, uchekiwe mafuta, uchekiwe engine, and after that unaambiwa ukiona hii sign fanya hivi, ukiona ni ujue ni shida hii. After that, then you are free to go. Yes, that's why marital counseling is very important. What you call pre-marital. Yes, they matter because they can give you the wrong choices. Yes, and I don't know even who really sanctioned them and why they indeed exist and for what purpose, except for making life difficult for people. Now, I believe you should also have friends, but this kamati or cliques are worse for you when it comes to decision making. Because the issue is that you either conform to them or they discard you. You know, there is this issue where, as guys, now, if you have belonged to a group of kamati or your kamati, what about if your values are not their values? What about if your preferences are not their preferences? Now, there are those who tell you, oh, me, I can't be married by this, or somebody else have this. And yet they have lacked. Where umepata, do you think they'll be happy for you? No. So you sure enough, even their evaluation may not be. I believe you should have a genuine friend. Genuine friend who tells you, by the way, this guy is okay, except please maybe on this. Yeah, look at these, yes, 1, 2. And so, so that one of the, I should have mentioned that one of the red flags that you also should look in a relationship is this relationship that isolates you from friends and isolates you even from relatives. It's like it is our world. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what my mother says. It doesn't matter what my brother say or sister say. And then you are left together. Some people even are told if they don't want to approve of it, we can elope. Once you elope, and because you almost feel like all that matters, I have him. All that matters, I have it around here. That is a long deception. You go there and you find you need people. And if anything go wrong, you realize you don't have the courage to go and say, somebody will tell you, oh, Suli, mlienda. So you can be abused. You can even be killed. And because no one knows you, or even, you have already cut all the ties. But a friend should know about it. Your parents should know about it. Or even people that are significant to you should know it. And that's what I remember telling my daughter one day. That any guy who tells you to cheat me or to deceive your parent, that unaenda pahali ingine anataka mkutane, lakini akwambia ambia mzazi naenda town au naenda kupata cousin, that has already disrespected you, not even your parents, you. Anataka kukuonyesha I'm important than your parents. And I asked her, if I give that young man, if I gave him you wakati when you were so young, had no education, would he even really regard you? So amekuona umekaa hivi unalea umejileta mpaka hapo. So I said, any young man who respects and honors you should be able to regard your parents. So let him, if possible, come and have the guts to tell me, can I have your daughter? Can I go take your daughter? And I've seen young people come do that. I want to take your daughter for tea. I remember another day we were in Nairobi and a young man says, I'm driving to Nakuru. Would you trust me? We drive ahead of you. And by the time we reached Nakuru, we also were driving. This is what I call, mature men. Kama pale Biblia inasema Genesis 2:24, a man shall leave his father and mother. Ako hata ni mtu mzima. That's not a boy. Can take responsibility over your daughter or somebody else's daughter. If somebody wants to take you the way you are, hujajifikisha hapo, yule alikulea kutoka chini na mpaka akusomesha pale umefika university, would you be able just to say, Mom, if you allow me, I would want to, I'm at an age where I can think I can stay with somebody else because you've taken care of me up to 25 years, up to 26. But you kusikia ati mzazi anasikia umeshaenda, even you as a lady, I want to say you've disrespected yourself. Yeah. I've seen people who are married of the same age, others a little small gap. A big gap is a little bit, not that it can't work, but I've realized sometimes people are in different stages of their lives. Yeah, there's this girl who is still feeling like, I feel like I need to be with my friends, party a little bit. And there's this other one, amekibia, amesha homa, I want to settle down. And it's like, doesn't feel like he wants to go out, feel like, just want to settle down. And so, sometimes you find this young man, now this man feels like I've married a drama queen, a kid. Because the age difference, I'm telling you, beyond 5 years, you're in a different stage of your life. Going to 10 years, you're talking about a generation gap. So the 5 years difference is all right. But beyond that, you may realize, even your experiences, moja kwa CBC, mwingine alikuwa 844. Then from 844, mwingine ako na ile 766. Munaongea, mwingine anaongea juu ya Sijandropas, au Simon Makode, mwingine anaongea. So you seem not even to have the same frame of reference. So one will be a kid, or looking always like a kid, or hata ananyamazishwa. Wakati nilikuwa nasoma huko umeanzia shule, you are in a relationship but somebody is being told shut up because hiyo hata hukujua. Huko umezaliwa, every time unanyamazishwa, hata huko umezaliwa because of the difference. But 5 years, yeah. I think between 5-0, all right. Thank you, Nell.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
virtuous woman. She's a virtuous woman.